There is a very large group today, so I'm going to wait a couple of minutes before starting so that everybody can join. Hi! So long! Hi Simon, hi Karen, hi Alison, hi Paolo, hi Edward. Michelle is coming. Wow, this is so unexpected. We have so many people. If people want to watch the video later, they can do that. And if they want to write comments or questions, they can do that under the video. Welcome. It's going to be something like an exhibition, not exactly like a real exhibition, because of course you are not in a room where you can choose what you look at. But I'm not going to speak too much, so I will leave the pictures on the screen for a few seconds before maybe saying one thing or two. But I would like you to feel like you're almost in an exhibition so that you can kind of feel what the artwork is telling you. I have decided to create this event to show you a new platform that I've created recently. I've called it nassinifineart.com, and it is basically a platform where I put all of my recent work. So there is a section with a lot of artworks that were turned into prints. And so you can kind of view the print in a very kind of detailed way if you go on it. So I will speak more in detail about each of these artworks, but I want to show you first the platform because it is the reason why I've kind of created this event. It was really exciting. I made the website myself, and then there is a part with commissions that nobody has ever seen before. So this wasn't on social media till now. And I'm going to show you this in the second part. And I want to start with the artworks actually. So these are all of the pieces that are on the platform. Each one of these pieces is born either from a one of what kind of research question that I have, or from an art lesson that I've created for other people that I've also done myself, or from some kind of need that I had while making an artwork, especially in the last couple of years. This particular piece is called The King of the Cats. I like how in each one of my artworks there is always like a reference to somebody I work with or I study art or music with. And The King of the Cats was actually a title that was given to this piece by a very good friend of mine called Alan. And he said that it looked like the King of the Cats. And I like that the same reason that pushed me to create this piece is also what he saw in this artwork. So I think it's very clear what this is about. So my friend said it reminded him of how he feels when he's in the studio and when he's composing music. And it is exactly how I felt when I made this piece. So this, The King of the Cats is a collage, and it was born in response to a research of a peaceful and a quiet space that put me in touch with nature, with my imagination, with my deeper needs. It's basically the protective space of daily practice, really, that every artist has to fight for every day. It is also a really, probably the strongest art lesson I've ever taught in my life. I often teach this class called The Window of Happiness, and it works really, really well with children, with adults, with like older people. And I discovered later on, after a few years I was teaching this class, that it exists a similar exercise in art therapy, and I had no idea. I thought that I came up with this idea because I was inspired by a painting of Matisse. but it does exist already. And apparently creating a window is a very therapeutic activity. This is one of 3 panels. Oh well, I'm gonna leave you to look at it for a few seconds. I don't know if how many of you are familiar with painting, but this is clearly an oil painting on canvas that I have modified digitally later on. So the background is clearly not hand painted, the light blue part. This is part of a triptych that was commissioned to me in 2018 by some designers who created monocabin. Monocabin is like a metaphorical holiday house. And this place exists, by the way, in Greece, even if the designers created a sort of literally a monocabin that can potentially be built in different parts of the world. And it's a sort of very tiny house. And this house has got designs and artistic interventions. And the first one was built in Rhodes, so in Greece. And to kind of start this project, they turned a house into a gallery, basically. And they invited a few artists to create some site-specific work. So this was done especially for this project, and I used the colors that everybody else has used. Ooh, okay. I just read in the chat that Michelle said that she does writing. She does kind of writing for well-being, really, or writing workshops to kind of help people who experience trauma. And she just wrote in the chat that she does a writing class called Window to Happiness. So that's nice to know. Thank you, Michelle. By the way, I call this exhibition "The Sky is Open" because it's one of the lines of a poem that I wrote in a writing class that I've done with Michelle. So Michelle, who's now here, is the kind of person who gave me the space to create this piece of writing that I've used as a title for this exhibition. So thank you for that, and I hope that you're honored that I've done this. Yeah, so this is one of the pieces. It's a sort of story. So it comes from the original inspiration comes from a Greek myth, and I've developed 3 different panels that you can see now all together. So this is one of them. This is the second piece. They're very small. They're like 3 squares like this. And this is the third one. Again, they have been a bit modified in order to become prints, but the original artworks are actually, they look like this. So this is how they look on the wall. The original piece has been sold to actually the person who commissioned the piece to me, but yeah, the prints are available. Let's see. Well, there are lots of influences in this piece, but I'm not going to talk about that. You probably can recognize some other kind of artistic influences or styles. This is a very interesting piece. It's one of the best pieces I've ever done in my life, I think. It's very strong and it has so many universal themes in just one picture. I can see the theme of refugees, migrants, parenting. I can see climate change and you know how precarious life is right now. And if I think about everybody I know, they all moved a few times in the last years. And it's very emotional, it's really deep, and I don't find it particularly derivative or cliche. So I think it has a strong kind of communicative power without being something that has already been seen anywhere. That's one of the reasons why I really like making visual art, because I can feel that I can create something that feels really new, but also is about the just, the very kind of basic values and important things in life. Thank you. I'm smiling at the comments. I don't know if you can all see it, guys. I had to open a little window to see the chat while I was sharing the screen, but I think everybody can see the chat if they look at the bar that Zoom has, where there is more on the top right of the bar. There are three dots, and you can actually see the chat. So Paolo says he's happy to participate in this event, and Edward says he likes the blue. Well done, Edward. It's a really expensive blue. It's Series 4. Karen says, reminds her of Chagall. Oh, well, yeah. Chagall has got a lot of flying people, and there is a flying bird, and the space is used in a similar way. It's very dynamic. Semra says she sees an angel in blue. Could be. I was thinking more of a bird when I made it, but it could be an angel. I'm not sure where I took this inspiration from. I see a lot of pictures every day for various reasons, research and teaching, and but this is a mix of many different things. The one at the back could potentially be a house, but it's kind of abstract now. This one has been sold, but the print is still there. This is lovely. Okay, I haven't done this artwork with the intention of doing something particularly extraordinary, or I didn't have a specific intention. I just wanted to explore a new technique, and in fact, I made it very tiny, and then I was very, very impressed with it. So I will maybe stay quiet for a few seconds so you can all have your own experience and make your own connections. This piece was made in 2018, so that was 3 years ago. I made it after a jam session in London. I was thinking that there's something amazing just happened. We had two female musicians leading Balkan and Eastern European jam session in London, and this was very extraordinary to me because I've been playing this kind of music for about 6 years now, and every month in London there were always mostly male musicians leading jam sessions, especially those particular jam sessions. And then I remember that once I went there and there were Susie Evans and Lucy Tasker leading the jam. And it was really unexpected. It was so much fun, and it was very, very different from all the other jam sessions in London. And I thought that this should have happened before, and it should happen more in the future, especially because I mean, music in general and society as well, but that particular style of music, I feel that there are more male musicians and they tend to kind of dominate a lot, especially in jam sessions where people are supposed to share the music more than to play a concert. And I really, really enjoyed that. And really thinking again about that experience, I made this, which seems almost like somebody looking from the outside at the scene. And it is a watercolor with a particular kind of paint for glass on the top. So this is a bit of an experiment. Alison says, I love the framing of this. There is more going on outside the frame that we don't see. Intriguing. Yes, so I've kind of melted a bit different kinds of black together. This is Yoga in Avocado. I've called it like that. It's also from 2008, no, 2019. And it's a similar theme to the Kings of the Cat, really. I've seen that it had a lot of potential, this particular picture, so I was really happy because I've never really used only acrylic paint. These are Liquitex acrylics, and I kind of fell in love with the material after I've done this piece. I'm normally tend to do professionally oil painting works or oil painting on canvas or on paper. And the rest, I don't consider it always at the same level because I've done most of my life oil painting in a more kind of serious way to do my own artistic research. And, acrylic was something that I used maybe when I was teaching, or, it's kind of less dangerous. Even with to use with children, but after this piece, I realized the potential of the Liquitex acrylic, and I was very, very pleased with the result. It looks very graphic, almost done on a computer, but it's actually hand painted, which is very precious and not seen that often, in especially in illustration. Most illustrators use digital colors and they do kind of digital painting. And that's kind of me trying to get closer to an idea of health and exercising all the time and eating well. And there's a little bit of irony in this because I always aim high, and then there's I have some defects as well. But I really like how ambitious this is in terms of values, and in terms of trying to be also very formally and technically beautiful, really. Samra thought it was gouache first. No, it's not. But that's a good observation. I didn't use that much water. I think I tried to keep it quite thick, and that's what make it so vibrant, because there is more pigment into every brush stroke, really. Samra is a painter herself, so that's why she she thought it was gouache, which is tempera, by the way, in some languages. Okay. Yay, so this looks like a map to me, like a treasure map or something really complicated somehow. And it was. There is a lot of research behind this piece. It's actually a commissioned piece for an album cover. So a friend of mine produces music, and she sent me the music, and she said, "Would you like to make the album cover for this?" Yeah, I made a big research. Visual, not visual. I listened a lot to the music. I noticed that there is a friend of mine here called Simon. He once gave me a book called Primitive Art, and I actually took a lot of these designs from that book. So I don't know if you can see, there are like fishes on the sides and at the bottom, and I took the fishes from that book, and I've used ink, black ink, on top of watercolor this time. And then there are like two or three other images that I've taken from somewhere else. And the rest I really imagined myself how to put them together and what colors to use. So I'm really pleased with this work. It was a very long process. I probably have done 4, 5, or 6 sketches before taking this final decision. And it's done on a really nice big handmade paper. Rosy cell, it looks like a protected space in the center. Yes, that's true. Absolutely. The theme is the house. It's called the dream house. And I was thinking about how tricky this topic is. As I've moved 7 times in 7 years, and a lot of the people I know moved even more often than me. And some people that I know are trying to find actually a house where to live kind of permanently. And I think it's really, I don't know, it was really comforting to to immerse myself in a space that was almost like home. So that made me feel that way. which in a way it is where I feel comfortable. Like I feel really at home in this particular, in the dimension of art. This puts together a lot of different themes and things. I find it really mysterious. I quite like it. I like the colors and the composition, and it tells you a sort of strange story. There are two of my favorite painters in here. One is Mama Anderson, she's American, and the other one is Marco Bongiorni, he's Italian. I kind of took a couple of details of their artwork and then a lot of other things to create my own piece inspired by them. I call this collective unconscious. This is an art manifesto. It's a little bit kind of it's a little bit punk. In a way, I took a flyer, a leaflet, and I cut it up and created a collage, remaking the text really. I call this piece Playgrounds. And it is the result of an artful well-being session that I run with a group of vulnerable adults. I work for various community centers and organizations, and in one of them I work with also with vulnerable adults. I mean, it's a mixed group, but some of them actually are not fully able to look after themselves, and I don't know, I delivered the class and I've done it myself as well. And when I looked at the result, I was thinking that it looked almost like I don't know, a feminist manifesto, and it was very playful and joyful, and the composition was very free, and somehow not thinking about the work but thinking about teaching relaxed me enough to do something that that was actually very rich and visually quite strong for various reasons. So yeah, I've decided to include this in my portfolio of artwork. And this is a mixed media, so there are various different techniques in this work. Okay, so these are the pieces that I put on a new platform. I wanted to show you the last part, which is the commissioned work. I don't think anybody has ever seen this because I haven't put it online yet. So for the past, I would say 6 years, maybe, or 7 years, I've worked on commissioned artworks of various kind. So this is the recent one that I've done. So some of you know who this man is. So he's Alan Byrne. He's the chair of the Other Music Academy and accordionist, pianist, American composer. And I've made various pieces that can be combined in one particular composition. So these are the pieces. And this is the way they go on the wall. Thank you, Rosie. So this piece, I'm really, really happy with this. So the core of my whole art practice is really try to emancipate others and myself through a dialogue. The dialogue can be an artistic dialogue, a verbal dialogue, anything that is really constructive and helps people to kind of express themselves and communicate their real needs. I think that we live, in a historically difficult time where, we have a global pandemic, we have a climate emergency, we have loads of problems. And I think that it's hard to really slow down and get in touch with your feeling and understand how you feel and communicate that, and communicate to yourself and to others your intention and what you need in order to feel fulfilled and not frustrated and oppressed. And I think that this particular artwork comes from a very, very empowering dialogue. We've kind of talked, and I've shared some of my work. He shared one particular photograph that he wanted me to turn into an artwork. And in the end, I said, well, I would like to have a bit more material if you don't mind. So he shared loads of different photographs that I kind of recombined visually, first with collage and then with 6 oil panels, into a composition that kind of tells stories for the viewers. So I've asked myself a couple of important questions and tried to communicate everything that was very extremely important that I learned from the dialogue with this musician, and try to really condense it visually in this kind of new style. So it's quite conceptual. There is people who know this person or know his work will understand like a lot more, I think. And others, we just see, I don't know, a new kind of art. This is the album cover that we've seen before. This is a book cover that I've designed for a book about Tai Chi. So a Tai Chi teacher asked me to design this for the book that he wrote about Tai Chi. This is a logo for a clarinetist.
Mhm.
I've done it originally with acrylic paint on paper, but I've done some digital post-production of this one. Because of course he needed to go in many different digital places, so he had to be quite flat and work really well in a small size as well. This is a mural I've done in 2016. So I was asked to create some mountains, and that's what I've done. This is an indoor mural, so I have used wall paint and particular kind of sketching that I've then projected onto the wall so that we could see the final result before actually doing the actual work, so that we could choose the right colors and know exactly what the person living in this house wanted. And then, eventually in a few hours, I've painted it. The people that you see are actually coat hangers, so they're not painted. They are physical object attached to the wall. This is the last one, which you have seen already a little bit in a smaller kind of size. I made a research about the kind of about the history of art on that particular island, and I've looked at everything that was happening in the museums, in roads, and I had to use a certain color palette. So the colors were given to me. I couldn't choose all of the colors in this particular context. I might do other events like this. If you go on nassinifineart.com, there is the chance to join the art letter. nassinifineart.com is where you will be able to find everything you've seen. So from tomorrow, you will be able to order anything if you want to. Tomorrow, everything will be fully active.